We are now on part 3 of organizing your tutoring business, communicating with students and parents. I am Cheryl Euling, the tech coach for tutors, and I help support tutors who are building out their tutoring businesses. Many of them are moving from in-person to online, and sometimes that communication piece can look a little bit different when you are in an online environment rather than in person. So the goal for this is just to give you some reassurance that you're probably doing things right, but if you're struggling, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. Communication with student parents could be a struggle for you if you're not used to sharing information. But I'm going to give you a few examples. You can call them, you can email them, you can text them, you can use the stream within Google Classroom or an online meeting as perfect times to speak to both your students and parents. And of course, you should be speaking with them because they have hired you. They've hired you to do the job. So here's some ideas. There's probably no right way or wrong way to communicate with parents, but I do believe that when you communicate with them, try to keep it positive, even if something negative has happened. And just like in my elementary teaching days, sometimes you have to sandwich the good with the bad. So you can start with, hey, this went well, but we struggled here. And this is how I plan to attack it. If you have any questions, let me know, or other suggestions. I just wanted you to be aware of it. You could totally do that. Or you could say, this, I saw this behavior today. This is what was happening. I wanted to let you know this is what occurred. Questions that tutors ask. I see these in groups that I help moderate. They want to know, what do you use for communication? How often do you communicate? And what do you share? Okay, so what do I do? For myself personally, I share an email at the end of every lesson so that my parents know what we have covered and how their child performed. And I typically type this very quickly at the end of a lesson as my student is actively engaged in some sort of a game or activity. I will use the stream in Google Classroom to share information with my students. And each time I post in Google Classroom, parents are sent a notification. So they can see that I'm actively working on things just for their child or their child's group. And I think that builds trust, and they appreciate knowing that I'm doing things just for their child. Many tutors want to know what to share. And I believe that the more information that you share, that's better than sharing not enough. So less isn't necessarily good. Of course, if you're just sharing to share and there's not really any new information, that could also equate to less. So parents have hired me to work with their child and support them. So again, I will share whatever we've worked on, how their child performed. I share the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I believe, again, that they're paying me to teach their child. If their child is off task and they're not learning, I want them to be successful in their classrooms. And if they're not working with me, then they're not going to be successful, right? So I work with my parents to seek solutions so that their child is successful. And that can be really uncomfortable at first. So what platforms can you use to communicate? You can use your regular email, whatever you're emailing your parents with, or maybe you're using a service where you're sending out information on a regular basis. You can use Google Classroom like I do, because every time you're going to post something, they're going to get a message. You can use Tutorbird like I do. At the end of every lesson, I send home an email message. My parents also get updates on any calendar changes. They get a text and they get an email to remind them about their lessons. You can create videos of students during sessions as proof of accomplishing goals. You can use your website. You can send home newsletters, and don't forget those calendar reminders as ways to communicate. Again, communicating with your student might look a little bit different than communicating with your parents. I do not email my students. I don't email my students. My students are kindergarten through 5th grade. I'm only having those conversations with parents. But if you're working with high school students, you might need to consider something like using the Remind app, or get permission from a parent that it's okay to text the child. But again, all of those conversations need to be kept very professional. If they're going in a direction that they shouldn't be going, you need to inform the parents, because you are the adult here. We want to keep all of our students safe and secure, and it's strictly those learning conversations. So don't go out of the realm of that. All right. And I also want to let you know that I offer the Tech Hub for Tutors, which is a yearly membership. You can also sign up monthly. You can find more information at midwesttutor.com at Tech Coach for Tutors. I appreciate your time, and I hope you're learning a lot in this short series on organizing your tutoring business. We want you to be successful. As always, make it a great day and keep the learning going.